Okay, see, this is a loaded question because you have to explore your different facets of identity. I'm a biracial woman who's black and white. I grew up in an all-white area, came to an all-white school, so my understanding of my blackness might be different from someone who is not mixed with white and who did not grow up in an all-white area.
My minority experience.
I think the minority student experience depends on which minority group. And I think it is different because of the intersections of race for particular minority groups in a Trump era. And so I think Latino students, if you're asking me directly, Latino students are thinking about what does it mean to be considered migrant and what does it mean to be considered foreign. I think black students are worried about policing and kind of like the vast, like what it means to be so very different in terms of hair, aesthetic, the use of like the traditional historical pieces of living in the South, and then Wilmington's crazy past. I think Indian students are always being have conflicted notions of their experiences here around their identity as Muslim or around their like expected identity as Muslim, and are they terrorists? And so like I think all students are worried or mapped into approximations of whiteness.
Running on homecoming court was a blatant just spotlight of all of the issues that I faced on this campus. I was the only minority. That made me feel really uncomfortable because I know that there are people who are more than qualified to be there with me, and last year there were 4 minorities on the court, including good friends of mine like Marquise and Miko and Sumia and Thomasina, and the fact that we went from 4 minorities out of 10 student leaders to 1 was kind of a slap in the face because I know my peers. I think that's the whole point of homecoming court, right? Is like you know who you're up against. It's slightly competitive while also being an honor, but I was confused. I don't think that takes away from any of the leadership that was on the court, but I also didn't think it was well represented, especially when you have people like Ben Lewis and Dwayne Morgan who are RAs, OLs, Seahawk Links, Watson student leaders. Like Ben is going to Wake Forest for grad school. People who are really accomplished and driven, who poured their souls into this university. I don't know.
Running for SGA president, because I went in knowing that I was qualified, I had the credentials, but I also went in knowing that there's a chance that I may not win just for the fact of my race and that people wouldn't want it. And for me, I'm a black female, so my race and my gender did play a factor in like some of my concerns, because I was like, as a female, people won't take me seriously, and specifically as a black female, some people are definitely not going to take me seriously. And even running for my campaign, I heard people saying that they wouldn't vote for me because I was a female. Like, they weren't going to vote for me because they didn't want a female to represent their concerns, their voices. But it has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with race. When we come to this institution, we all have the same end goal, to graduate out of here with a diploma in hand, to proceed towards our future career goals. And as student body president, it's the role, the position is to make sure that you have someone representing your concerns, your academic concerns, your social concerns, and someone who is aware of all the issues, like pertaining to not just like race, but gender, sexuality, religion, stuff here on campus that people encounter every day because they live in the minority of those various groups. They live on the margins of those groups. So with that being said, it's like, I felt that if I was to get this position, I could do it justice, being the person who I am.
So what do I think, why do I think that cultural centers like Opperman, Centro, the LGBTQIA office, the Women's Resource Center, all these centers, I think provide an opportunity for students to see themselves reflected in this campus, to further their understanding about their own identities. I'll be very naive to tell you that I am an expert within, you know, my own people, the Latinx community. I'm learning so many things about just the intersections, the intersectionalities of an Afro-Latino or an undocumented, queer, rural Latinx, right, community member, or to be an Asian Latino. So I think that these centers really provide an opportunity for everyone to be included as part of the conversation. They generate opportunities for us to collaborate together, not just to support each other in our missions, whether it's Black Lives Matter or DACA students, but beyond that, I think it gives us an opportunity to really unite, and I think that that's my ultimate goal. At least I believe in unity, in power through unity.
When I walk down Chancellor's Walk with my big curly afro, or even when I have my headscarf on with big hoop earrings, I get stares. And it got to the point where I was picking out my outfits for the day with the mindset that I didn't want to stand out. My minor is history, and I've only ever met 2 other black women and 1 black man who were history majors. Even in my own major, which is English, there are very few people of color in a very large department. I've only ever had 1 black female teacher in this institution, and she was teaching calculus. I found my home, my family, and my safe haven in the Upperman Center. To find people who look like you and who you can relate to is just something you can't put into words. And to see people working in higher ed who understand you and your experience and who are looking out for your well-being is something that most people on this campus don't even have to consider. So I started to wonder about what the other experiences for minorities on this campus was. Because as humans, even though we share similar experiences, we don't have the same ones. My name is Moriah Yancey, and this is the Minority Experience at UNCW.